This podcast was recorded on Gubby Gubby land and pays respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. This is a really exciting episode because I actually have one of my friends and slash clients on to interview me about my business journey, the beautiful Hayley. We were chatting in the DMs and she was like, she's wanting to sort of start her own business in the similar industry that I'm in and is really just wanting to like take that leap of faith. And she reached out to me and was just like, look, you inspire me. Like, I just want to know what like you did to get to where you are. Like, do you have any advice? Like all the things. And I thought, let's just jump on a podcast episode because every time we seem to get together, we don't stop talking anyway. So I think it's just like the perfect space to be.
I know exactly.
But how are you?
Good, thank you. I'm so excited. We were just chatting earlier and I was like, oh, I can't wait to get on and chat to you about all things business because I've been watching you since, well, if you had your business now for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching you from the start. I was like, oh my God, she's doing an amazing job and like very inspiring. And I didn't sort of think that I would want to do something like that until very recently. And I was like, oh, and then I've just been loving your work. We worked together already, um, like I've been your client like a couple of times in your womb healings, which I've been loving. So, yeah, so when we've done that, I was like, actually, I'd love to know a bit more behind the scenes how you started. And yeah, because I'd love to do my own.
Amazing. Let's get into it. Ask me the questions. Fire away. I'm
Okay.
excited. I kind of like I read over them briefly, but like I just said to you before we started recording, I'm kind of just leaving it up to just whatever comes up is going to come up. So I'm really excited to see where this episode goes.
Me too. All right. Well, I'll start with like, I guess the first thing that comes to mind is I was wanting to know like how you started your own business. So like how you came up with the idea for Sacred Space and like kind of what inspired you to start
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So if we take it way back, my business when I first opened was actually called Riverside Bowen Therapy because I live by the river and I was only doing Bowen therapy at the time. So I started studying like my Bowen certification and I should have known back then. Like I still remember when I was sitting there like registering my business name and all the things and thinking like, oh, I'm going to be so much more than just Bowen therapy. So I actually made my business name Riverside Relaxation and Bowen Therapy because I was like, oh, that like encapsulates all different things if I want to expand. When in reality, after a year of trading under that business name, I I quickly saw that that was just not encapsulating what I did because I quite quickly after becoming a qualified Bowen therapist kind of like did all these other little mini modalities and like really was expanding my capacity and my education in like so many different areas. So yeah, I would say that what really brought me to do my own business was I feel like everyone who like gets into their own businesses and is an entrepreneur, you just have that about you. Like you're just good at problem solving. Like it's in my nature to just like fix things and like look for problems and fix them. And although that can be like almost like a shadow where I have to kind of bring balance to that and not always be looking for things to fix, it's very much like a trait of an entrepreneur. So I feel like it's always been in my just like blood, I guess. And I remember as a little girl, I always wanted to have like my own cafe and things like that. And it's really cool because that's still in my vision actually with what I do. So it's like, I feel like it's just always been there and I just kind of followed that. And now this is where I am, Sacred Space with Tanika Lace.
Oh, I love that. And I love that you're like including, you're not just narrowing yourself to one thing. You're like, no, I can do all these things and you're expanding your own business based on just how you're feeling in the moment. So obviously you started your business with like based on the menstrual cycle. Um, sorry, no, you didn't start, you started Bowen therapy, but your Sacred Space journey is on the menstrual cycle. Like what made you kind of lean into that a little bit more? Did you have your own like kind of story yourself?
Yeah, so I would say for the most part, yes, I had my own story with like contraception and then realizing that I wasn't like um I wasn't honoring my body. I wasn't trusting in my body and trusting in yourself is such a key pillar almost of like having your own business, right? Like if you don't trust yourself, you're the product. How is that ever going to be successful? So it was kind of like this journey, which like I've gone into a little bit like around like my contraception journey, being on the pill for some years and then going on to the IUD and things like that. But I would say what really anchored me into the menstrual cycle was that I really found like this passion for like womb healing and generational healing. So really like going deep on my journey. Like I studied breath work and cacao training, Reiki master, all these different like modalities like access consciousness and like all these things that were like really focused on finding the core of the problem, releasing the core of the problem, and then people finding like ease in their life. And I guess for me, yes, I did have like my own journey with like my cycle and things, but it's almost like from the lens of like the womb healing of we hold all this like trauma from our lineage. We hold everything in our womb space as women. And it's definitely, yeah, that like womb healing and generational healing that brought in that cycle stuff. Cause I was like, whoa, it's not just generational cycles we play into. How can we align with our menstrual cycle to also heal the cycles from like generations before us? So it's kind of like this like holistic approach that I've taken to coming to the menstrual cycle. And I just kept on like attracting women who were just like, my period sucks. Like, can you help me? Or, like it was almost like just magnetizing to me. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm being called to step into. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I think like I have like recommended you to friends as well, and they've seen your page and they're like, I just don't feel like I know any of this stuff. So I think it's probably a main reason is because you've just got this knowledge that like just a lot more women are just unaware of, and it's just so empowering when you do find that out. And like those modalities like womb healing and Bowen therapy, they're kind of like techniques to like then use that to connect to your menstrual cycle too. So it's like, I guess it's kind of like releasing, like, yeah, how you're going to connect to your period and that cycle. So it's a nice way to like link them all together.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
definitely.
Do you have anything else on that topic, or will I
No, you can move
the
on.
next? Yeah, I loved hearing like how you started. And yeah, I think the main thing for me was like so many passions and like how do you like narrow it down? But it's cool that you've been able to include so many different things in that. Um,
I will
what
actually
helped you?
add to that and just say
Yeah.
like I feel like that's another thing like when people start business, right, is like you think you have to go out and, for example, do what I did. And although all of these modalities I've learned and all like the books I've read and all the things have really supported me to get to where I am, I think it's also really important to know that it's all within you and you don't have to go like I almost had this picture painted that to be a successful like business owner in like the healing space, I had to have all of these certifications to be um in integrity and accepted. But I think something really important to remember is you don't need all of those things. That's like a human thing, is like certificates, right? Like we know these things within us. And although I don't regret all the study and things I do, and I mean, I'm still studying, I don't regret that. I do think, though, for a good period of time there, I was doing it from a space of not feeling enough in myself. So that would be like a piece of advice that, like, you don't need all those fucking things. Like, people come to you because they actually genuinely love you and like what you have to offer individually, not for all the other things that you kind of try and gather into your basket.
Yeah, actually that just like links so well. Because I'm working with a coach at the moment, she always says it's not your knowledge. It's not, no one cares about like your knowledge. It's more about how much you care. So
Mm.
it's like, yeah, it's great to have the knowledge, but how do you like use that to really show empathy and really use that to connect with people? Because, yeah, you can reel off all these facts, but it's just like really knowing how to connect. So that's, yeah, I remember you telling me that too in one of my womb healings. You were like, because I was thinking, I don't know, like, if I'm ready for this, like I've been thinking about this business idea for a while and I'd love to do like helping women to just be authentically themselves and manifest the life that they desire. And it's just something I've been doing myself. So for a while, been working on like building up my life to be the way I want it. So when you said just know that knowledge is within you, I was just like, wow, okay. I've just studied a psych degree and I still didn't feel enough. Like
Yeah.
the
And
fact
like,
that that was coming up, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what more could we really like, obviously it's great to keep learning, but we can learn off people and like through experiences as well.
yeah, and I
Um,
mean, I probably the most I've learned is from my clients who come to me and trust in me because I hold that beautiful connection with them and I hold that sacred space and I make sure they don't feel judged and that it's a space that they can actually just be themselves, whether it's emotional, whether it's not. Like, I think
mm,
exactly what your coach is like saying to you as well, Hayley. It's very much like who you are as a person, how you connect with people goes beyond any of the knowledge that you know, because at the end of the day, the answer's always in you. And like you said, like you've literally done a whole ass psych degree, like, and you didn't feel enough. And it just shows that it's like the societal thing of just like, what else can I, like, what other shiny object can I grab to try and feel good? Where it's like, no, like you actually, like, you're enough.
And also like doing it's sort of like this almost like a distraction. It's like keep doing the courses and keep doing the things. And it's like, when are you actually going to start? Like, when are you just going to, you can only like you said, you learn the most through your clients and through the actual starting the business. Like you can only do so much planning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I was going to say as well, like, how did you overcome the big fear? I'm assuming it was a fear of just stepping into something different. Like, so I remember you said you used to work in retail. It
Mhm.
was a little while ago, and I think you were doing Bowen therapy at the time. But how did you like step into the fear to really commit to the business and
Yeah.
like drop the job? Yeah.
Yeah, so it was actually like a huge it was a huge thing to do. It took a lot of courage. And it was something that I was wanting to do for a really long time. So I worked in the job and sort of at the time, like the way the timeline sort of matched up is like we got a new store manager. So I was in a management position and I didn't want to be in a management position anymore. And every time I would step down from a management position, I'd put me into a different department and I'd have to manage it again. So it's kind of like, it's that same energy of like, that's just in my nature to be a leader and to be someone who's like, got a lot going on in that. So it's like, it's great. They saw that quality in me, although I wasn't wanting to give it to that job. So then I was building a lot of resentment in myself because I was like, I just want a fucking job that I can come to 2 days a week and not think about on the outside, but instead like I did 3 days a week and I was a manager. So I was having to fit in like lots of stuff in like 3 days. So it was just too stressful. We got a new store manager. He was kind of a bit of a how you going? Like I can kind of say what I want because the store ended up closing down a couple of months after I left, if I'm honest.
Oh no,
um,
you were holding it together.
honestly, I held that place together. I'm joking. I'm just joking. But yeah, I kind of just was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. Like it was actually driving me crazy. It was at that point where I was like, if I don't leave this job, I'm actually going to just like it, I actually can't be here. And I remember I was busy with clients at the time. And because I'd built up like quite a loyal customer base with Bowen therapy doing energy healing as well, but mostly the Bowen therapy element to it. And I remember I was with my mum-in-law actually, and we were driving to just like a tea shop, like coffee shop, but it was only sold tea. And I was just bawling my eyes out. And I was like it was kind of like we are in conversation. I wasn't just like in the car crying. And she just said to me, so Jai's parents like own a very successful blind manufacturing company. And she basically just said to me in the car, she was like, you are fucking fine. Like you leave that job, your business will support you. And if you need any support, like we're here, like no one's ever going to let you not be okay. And she just reflected to me like 20 years ago, their company was in the shed at the back of their house. And now it has like with like 10 staff members, including them. And now that company has like over 30 employees and they're like nationwide and have trucks going around Australia and they're like so incredibly successful. And she just reflected that to me of like, it takes time. I think what I was personally doing was waiting for it to be like in the coaching industry, I feel like it can almost be like the 10K cash months and like all these things. I was like
Mm,
really like looking for that and looking for that like financial like stability. But to be honest, you're never really going to have that stability when you work for yourself. Like, yes, you will, obviously. It's not going to be like this like complete like down and then up and down and things like that. But it's not going to be the same as a job where you know you're getting paid a certain amount per week. So it was also letting go of that. But I feel like that pep talk with Jai's mum was really the point where I was like, I have to leave. Another thing I did was actually I wrote out my resignation letter and had it on my mirror for like 6 months before I left. And I read it every morning to myself to remind myself I wasn't like, I was more than that place. Like, I was going to do it one day. And it's the exact resignation letter that I handed in when I quit. So that was like a really cool moment of just like, I fucking like manifested this.
Wow. I love that so much. You were
Yeah.
creating the opportunity.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then I feel as well, I had something else that I was going to add to that, but yeah, I feel like it just takes a lot of courage and you're never ever going to feel ready. And I was obviously in a position where I was very blessed of like I had a lot of support and I still do have a lot of support around me for that change. And I understand a lot of people don't have that, but I guess like just trying to find that safety where you can. That's what I was going to say was I actually grew up with like no money. Like I grew up in a very like missed out, like very like low like income, like single mom, like kind of just like ate 2-minute noodles a lot. Like we didn't really have like that luxury of money growing up. So that was another thing I really had to try and work on in myself, which it's something that comes up for me a lot. But that was a big thing that I focused a lot of my work on was just working on my money beliefs, because for as long as you ignore your own patterns with money and your beliefs with money and what's been embedded into you, it's never going to feel enough either. It's that like scarcity thing of like, it wouldn't matter how much money I had in the bank, I wasn't feeling enough. So it was very much doing that work there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. And I think a lot, it just goes to show a lot of like what we're brought up with in our childhood does actually like impact us later down the life. You might not notice it until you're trying to do something different. Like that security of a job it's nice because you know you're going to get paid and you know you're going to get shifts, but then also that's not even a guarantee either.
Mm.
You know, tomorrow's not a guarantee. We actually were talking about that with my coach the other day because I was like, you know, what if you decide that you don't want to, you know, start the business? And she's like, well, why not try? Because tomorrow's not a guarantee. You don't know. Like you may as well be doing something that you love. And I think that you saying that you had that resignation on your mirror, knowing that that was one day going to be your truth, like you were going to be living out your dream, is
Yeah.
exciting. It keeps it alive because otherwise we can just go, you know, play the victim a little bit and sit back and go, it's not for me. Like, yeah, maybe
Yeah,
we'll just keep waiting.
exactly.
Mm.
And letting all those limiting beliefs that do come up win. So
Yes.
much easier to be like, oh, actually, yeah, like I'll do another degree or I'll like it's just one of those things that like I think a lot of people, that's why a lot of people aren't successful because they just let that it's a lot of mindset and energetic work. So I highly recommend if you're in the position of like wanting to step into your own thing, that like resignation letter on the mirror, like it kept my dream alive. And I think it allowed me to achieve it a lot faster than I maybe thought I could as well.
Mm. And so when you decided like, okay, I'm resigning, like that would have been just such a big relief because like you and I think it's almost like showing the universe as well that you're taking this seriously, like you really this is what you want to do. And it's like take that leap of faith and you'll be rewarded. So it's
Yeah.
nice to sometimes it doesn't make sense. You don't know what's going to happen, but like doing the leap of faith before seeing the results, it can seem a bit backwards, but
Yeah.
it's how like a lot of people get stuck in that.
Yeah.
Like
And
I
like,
have definitely been stuck in that. Yeah.
yeah. And action's like the key step in manifestation. So if you're manifesting it, you need to take action on it at some stage. And it's definitely not to say like as well that I handed in that resignation letter and then everything was just like daisies and roses and I was just like, it was easy. Like it's been like being an entrepreneur has been the most probably the hardest thing that I've had to learn to navigate. And it's been the biggest personal development journey I've ever had because you constantly are faced with like choosing yourself over and over, choosing your dreams over and over, or taking the easy way out. You're constantly faced with like your limiting beliefs, with the stories that come up, with other people's projections. And although I've been very blessed in the sense that like I have a lot of support around me. No one's really ever said like, oh, you shouldn't do that. I've actually had the opposite, and people pushing me further than I would push myself in some instances. It has definitely been the hardest thing to navigate, especially with that like getting used to the not steady exact same income every single month. It's like, oh, okay, and like having to work on a lot there. But I just wanted to also share like when I did hand in that resignation letter, so I got myself all hyped up. I was like, I'm handing it in today. I'm giving them the 2 weeks notice. I literally got there and the store manager was away for like 3 days.
Of course.
I was like, I just like left it on his desk. I was like, I don't even have enough respect for you at this point to care because it was just like this whole like, I just felt so disrespected because I'd worked there for like so long. And then like when I was ready to sort of step into my business, he was a newer store manager and kind of said like, oh, are you sure your business is going to work out? He's probably the only person I ever experienced like projections from of like, oh, is this a good idea? Do you know what I mean? So I kind of just was like,
Yeah.
you are just like an annoying old man. Just like take this letter and I'm out of here.
That's the thing. I think like it's like take advice of people that you're inspired by. Like that sort of that makes sense why he was probably the one that was saying that because he's in the job that you don't like. He
Yeah.
probably can't see that kind of a vision for himself or anyone else. So yeah, just like trusting yourself over anything else. And I think it obviously goes to show how important it is to have a good support network and circle because people
Yeah.
project their fears all the time.
Yeah.
It's a like a fear of their own that they're putting on them on you, obviously.
And
Mm.
like you're so right, like never take advice. I think this is like I've heard this somewhere, I read it somewhere. It's like never take advice from someone who's not in the position where you want to be, like in your future. So for example, even with relationships, right? Like just to bring that in, like I've been with my partner for nearly 10 years and like I used to take a lot of advice from friends who were, sleeping around and were doing all these things that weren't true for me. And when I would take that advice, our relationship was at its rockiest. Whereas now I've come to like a more mature place. And obviously I was like freaking like 17 at the time. Of course, it was like, we went through a lot of like changes and shifts and things like that. And our relationship dynamic is very different to what it used to be. Although taking advice from people like that in comparison to now where we're kind of just in our own truth and we're like understand that like no one else has the relationship like us. And like, I wouldn't take advice from anyone who wasn't modeling the divine feminine and masculine balance kind of thing. But it's like even just applying it to like my relationship. Yeah, when you take advice from people who are nowhere near where you actually are striving to be, like why are you taking that advice? Because you're just actually taking on all their limits.
Yeah. And even like it definitely would be so helpful for someone who's in the position that you are, that you want to be, to get advice off them. But even then, like trusting yourself as well, just
Yeah.
that little bit more, because they might have something that doesn't work for you, but works for them still. But it's awesome to still get those feedback. But yeah, like intuition, massive piece. So you obviously have great connection with that. Like um, how did you go about connecting to your intuition to get that more support and reassurance that you
Yeah.
need?
Again, like looping back to my brain blank, what's the word? My journey with contraception, coming off like contraception, that was a huge part because it's like I feel like I've always been like that spiritual person. I've always been like the hippie friend, like, I've always just had that connection with my intuition. It's just been like a part of me. Like as a little baby, I would like love the moon and just things like that. Like I've just always had that part to me. So I feel like my intuition's always been quite like a big driving force for me when I'm like moving through life. But when I realized that I was taking contraception from a place of not trusting in myself rather than actually like, I was taking it from a fearful place of, I don't want to fall pregnant. I don't want this without trusting my body actually knows what she's doing. Like I cycle through my phases and like blah, blah, blah. Um, that would have been a huge part coming off of contraception and just watching that how like my body she moves through her phases and like I can trust that she'll do that every month because I've built that connection there. So that would be a huge part for me in like just building my intuition, but also like my self-care practices and actually coming back to myself. And like it's going to look different for everyone. Like sometimes I'll go through like a season of life where every single morning I'm getting up, I'm doing yoga, I'm doing a meditation, I'm doing EFT tapping, and then I'm going for a walk outside. Some other seasons I'm waking up, I'm just taking my morning slow, I'm having like a slowness in the shower, and then I go about my day, and then the afternoon I'm doing my meditation. Or some seasons of life, it's like I'm going to give myself a massage once a week or like whatever it might be. Just finding those different practices, I think is really important because you're building that relationship with yourself. Because at the end of the day, your relationship with yourself is like any relationship in your life. Like you want to nourish it, you want to make sure that it feels equal and it feels good. You don't want to be too much in your masculine and go, 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 because then in a relationship dynamic, that's going to feel like the feminine's missing out on the love and the nourishment. So we want to bring in that balance with self as well. So I would definitely say just building self-connection. Journaling's huge, right? Like different things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and probably like I love how you said that you not every day is kind of the same because obviously we are in a seasonal cycle. It's so nice to know that okay, these are like a few things that I know that my body loves, and I'll just see what feels good based on the season. So yeah, that's really game changing. And I was gonna say like with I guess starting a business, so you've kind of just back to that. So like you've obviously bit the bullet and you've started and you've handed in your resignation. Like how do you go about starting a business? Like where do you feel like would be like what kind of tips would you give to someone?
Yeah, so I remember like back in the day when I was still in retail and I would work some of my shifts were till like 9 p.m. at night. So I'd get home at like close to 10. And I still remember I'd sit in the kitchen and I would be so excited, like working on my business in those hours, like those pockets of time that I had. I remember like things that I did was I started like my website and built my website. That took some time. I'd never done that before. When you're an entrepreneur, you're wearing all these hats, you learn all these new skills. Nothing's going to be perfect from the start. Nothing's going to look so incredible from the start that it's like, you look like this high-end like person. Like you've got to start somewhere. And I think messy action's like the most important thing you can do, getting yourself out there and then refining it as you go and as you build that skill set. But for me, like I built my own website. I found like my appointment software, which I use Square, and that works so incredibly well for me because I do a lot of in-person and online. So even, Hayley, like you live in Melbourne, but you can still book in on my appointment website and then I just send you through a Zoom link. So it's kind of like it works really well for my business model. I did my like ABN, I did my business like registration, like my business name registration, like figured out my insurances, things like that. And like for the industry that we're in, what's it called? I've just had a brain blank of what the actual place is called that I go through, but it's they do like the insurance and the so that you're like a qualified practitioner because a lot of people aren't like registered practitioners. Why can't I think of what they're called? Anyway, if it comes to me, I'll like loop back to it. But like just doing things like that, right? Where you're like building that oh, it's IICT. That's what it's called. Sorry, my brain was just like not focusing. I was like, what's it called? So it's called IICT. So you can like register under them so many different like modalities. They also do your insurance, like things like that. So getting those sort of things sorted that kind of feel like really exciting at the start. It's like, oh my God, I got my Xero set up. I went to an accountant straight away. I think that's a really important thing to do as well is like get your Xero, like get on top of your, like understand your bookkeeping, understand your finances to your best ability because you're running a business at the end of the day. I opened up like a business bank account, like had it all separate, like really like from the start, just separated all of that. But yeah, I feel like I'll just take those little steps at the start and like, I would play around with like Canva and like content creation. But like I said, it's a skill set and like I'm still learning and I'm never going to stop learning. Like you're a student as soon as you decide you're opening up your own business. As for like advertising and stuff, I did like printouts and hung up them up on like community boards, posted on like Facebook pages, things like that to just really try and get my name out there. Ran a lot of like specials, like refer a friend and you can get a free session, giveaways on Instagram to build my following. Like all those like things I think that like a lot of people think, oh, should I do that? Like that's the things that I did. And like it honestly really supported me to build a really loyal customer base.
Well, yeah, like because you are starting from like the ground up. It's this,
Mm.
those are nice little actions you can take to build. Like it is a business at the end of the day. It's not you are offering something for them so they can give something back to you in a way. And yeah, it's nice that you can. Yeah, I've heard that like doing like lovely little like freebies or like just like mini masterclasses and things like that are really nice to offer to people, especially when they're just getting to know you too and what your business is about and like building rapport and trust. as
Yeah,
well.
and that's another thing. Like Hayley, you would know yesterday I messaged you, and for me, because I do like a in-person element to my business, Google reviews are really important for me. So if you're doing just an online business, you know, it might be more important for you to just get messages from your clients that you can share to your social media. But I've just decided, like for April, I am sorry, I'm like feeling a sneeze come on.
Do you hate that?
For me, like, you know, I messaged you, Hayley, as like a loyal customer of mine, and I was like, hey, for the month of April, you can get 30% off a healing if you leave me a Google review. Let me know if you want to do this exchange with me. And it's more from a place of like, I'm then building trust and credibility on my Google for people who are looking for a Bowen therapist and a womb healer. But also, you're getting something in return because it's almost an exchange between us of, hey, like you can actually get 30% off. And if you don't have to take up the offer, it's not from a place of like, leave me a review. It's more like, are you interested in this exchange? Like, if you're not, I
Mm.
won't send you the link to leave me one. So it's almost like that energy of like, not like pushing people, but just gently like saying, like, are you interested? If you're not, cool, cool, I'll move on. And, you know, I've done
Yeah.
that with a couple of my clients, and everyone's been like, hell to the yes, I want 30% off a session with you, and has jumped on it. So things like that are really cool too, to just build up that, yeah, credibility and rapport, like you said, because like people want to trust you, and people trust you quicker if other people trust you.
Yeah. And honestly, like it's something I honestly didn't even think to do. I'm like, yes, I want to help you out. Like one of those things, like when you maybe if you're not in the business industry, you're like kind of like, oh, like I'll always message you and be like, I had like the best session and stuff. But sharing that is just another level that other people can see as well. And that it's, you know, it's a second person. Obviously, you know, there's the person running it that could be biased in a way, but like it's nice to just have all these like beautiful women that you've supported sharing their stories because it just looks
Yeah.
so much more authentic and yeah.
Yeah. And when you actually support women through transformation, no matter what it is, people don't like, they don't care. Like when I asked you, you jumped straight on it. I had other clients who I haven't even worked with in a couple of months, and they were like, send me the link, babe. Like, I am so in on this. Like, you know, when you support women in that transformation and hold that space for them in that way where they feel so held, like you said, of course you're going to jump on it. It's a no-brainer. Of course, I want you to do better, Tanika. Of course, I'll support you in this way. I didn't even think of that. And that's a really cool point. People aren't going to think of that. You sort of have to bring that awareness to people.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
And
No.
I think I want to actually add there, if you don't mind me continuing to talk,
Go
is
for it.
um another like tip almost when you're starting your own business is never expect or put the expectation on your friends and your family to be your biggest support network. Because when I first started my business, I thought, of course, my friends would be my biggest support. And of course, I'm not putting them under like, I'm not saying my friends are shit or anything like that, but I will say that it was a lot for me to work on, seeing my friends support other businesses similar to mine, or seeing my friends not care about mine the way I cared about it. But I think it's just something that you're going to be faced with in entrepreneurship. And it's not that they don't care, it's not that they don't love you. It's just that your business doesn't mean that they have to love it the way you do. So remembering that too, that like a lot of your loyal customers and a lot of your business growth, it's not going to come from the people that you know. And although at the start they might say like, oh my God, I'm so proud of you, like it probably won't go further than that. And you don't have to make that mean anything more than that they're proud of you, they're watching you, but they don't necessarily need to be, you know, in your business.
Yeah, that's so fair. And like I guess not everyone's into this kind of industry. Like it doesn't mean anything. I guess like I'm sure you've got very like-minded similar friends, but then it doesn't mean that they're exactly the same. Like they might not be as into their self-development and like things like that. But the fact that they're, you know, still in your life supporting you, that's the main thing. It doesn't mean anything like you said. So
Yeah,
that's really nice to hear your experience with that because yeah, we can put a lot of pressure on those people being the closest people in our lives. Yeah.
exactly. And it's the same as like the part around like, don't take advice from someone who's not in the position you want. Like, if your friends back away from you even a little bit, which I've experienced, it's not necessarily that they don't want you to go further. It's that they can't even see that for themselves. They can't even fathom that for themselves of like, oh my God, running my own business, like no way. So in sometimes people, they're getting triggered by you. And that's something
Yeah.
that you just have to become okay with.
Mm. Yeah. And it doesn't mean anything again about you. I know it seems like it does, but it's like you're just their mirror, basically. You're like showing
Yes.
them what they can then work on themselves. That's been a massive thing that I've um, realized as well that's been really helpful in my self-development journey is like literally nothing is about you. Like don't take things personally because it's not like everything is a mirror. We're just, in my own life, walking down the street and you meet certain people, like there's always, I just always think that there's a reason why those people are here today. I've got to be learning something from them. They're showing me something. It's just nice to remember that.
I
Um,
completely agree with you. Yeah.
mm, yeah. And I was also going to add, like, what's like a typical day in your life? Because I find it so exciting, like that you get to work for yourself. And it's very like, can imagine, especially in self-development, very like fulfilling and free. Like you've got kind of ownership over how your day goes and how many clients you take on and things like that. So how do you make it like a day that like fulfills you?
Yeah. So I think the first thing I'm going to go with is like, obviously I work a lot with menstrual cycles, and something I'm always reflecting to my clients is, as women, each day isn't going to look exactly the same. So firstly, drop the ego of wanting to get up at 5 a.m. every morning, have your green juice, go for a run, all the things. Your hormones probably won't allow for that every single day. That's fine. It doesn't have to look like that. I got caught in that trap too. And interestingly enough, like yesterday on my I had a session with my therapist, and we came to the realization that, in fact, Tanika, you are still putting a box over yourself and trying to keep yourself in a box rather than free, even though freedom is one of your biggest values. So I think that's something to just like remember is like, again, you're always faced with like your limits and all the things. And sometimes you need that support to like see that you're doing that. I would say like a typical day in my life is like I get up and I spend the morning with myself, however that looks. Like I said, sometimes it's meditation, sometimes it's yoga, sometimes it's journaling, whatever it wants to be. Could just be a nice bath or a shower, like whatever. Get myself ready because I'm also studying at university. Usually like my day will start with like, depending, but I'll like go to a cafe, do a bit of uni, do a bit of back end work for my business, and then come home. Every day is so different, actually. I'm even just thinking through this week, like I had, maybe I'll just run you through like the last couple of days. Maybe that could be like cool, because I feel like it just shows how different your day gets to be. So on Monday, I started my day and I went to, yeah, had my morning routine, went to a cafe, worked for a couple of hours, came home, had some like emails and things to do. So I was really just on my computer all day. And then I think I went for a walk, and just like my partner got home, that was kind of it. And then I think Tuesday I did, I had like it's the same sort of morning, but then I was like on with my mentor, like on a call. Now I can't even think of what I've done. But I'm just like, my days,
It's
and then like
different. Yeah.
yesterday, it's like my whole day was with clients, right? So it's kind of like, and then today it's like
Mm.
mixed up. It's like, had a client before this, we've got this, and then I've got another client after, and then I've got a call with my mentor. And then it's like, it gets to shift and change. Like yesterday, actually, I had like the morning with a friend, and then I got some work done, then I had my therapy appointment. It's like, you
Mm.
kind of can just find this beautiful dance between like what needs to get done. I also have like a whiteboard, which was like the best investment I've ever made in my business, because like whiteboard sessions with yourself or with like a friend are like the best, because you can like map out lots of things for business. So I was also deep diving yesterday into my finances and what I would need to streamline, what I need to automate, what I need to get rid of, things like that. So it's like my
Mm.
day honestly just looks different every single day. But again, like looping back to like my appointment with my therapist yesterday and how she was like, you put yourself in a box, because there's so much freedom and a lot of people don't have that. You can almost make yourself wrong that you're getting up and going for a walk with your friend and then coming home and working and then going to the gym and then coming home and work. You can almost
Yeah.
make yourself wrong where it's not wrong. It's just about like really staying in your own lane and coming back to what feels good for me. Okay, that doesn't feel
Mm.
good. And just finding what feels good for you. And if that looks like not scrolling Instagram for a couple of weeks or something to like really find what you like, I highly recommend it, because Instagram's always going to be the influencers with all the green juice and the runs and all the things like that. I'm just using that as an example, but
Mm.
a
Yeah.
lot of people think that's what you have to be successful. But what does it actually feel like for you to be successful? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And like I think um yeah, Instagram is a massive reason why we can start to maybe fall out of alignment. And like you said, like freedom, I loved that's just not something I thought about. But when you are living that free lifestyle, it's almost like maybe thinking back to potentially people in your life that aren't living that and that maybe want to, or that just don't think that that's a way of being successful. But it can look so different in so many ways, and it's a value of yours and mine is to be free. So like
And
if
I
that's going to
even
allow you.
remember when I first started just working for myself, and my partner, he's always been my biggest supporter. Like he's actually like a gem, but he just couldn't like he genuinely, it wasn't that he thought I wasn't working, but he genuinely in his head was just like, I don't understand how you are working, but you're like at home, but how are you tired? Because he's working like, you know, doing hard work, whereas it's a different form of work. So it's almost like then I was going, oh my God, am I not working? Like, you know, it was almost like people always perceive things very differently. So it's almost, again, it's like just because Jai goes to work and works like a different form of work doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to be tired. And like we quickly moved through that. And he was like, oh, it's not that I don't think you're working. It's just I can't fathom how it even makes sense. Because
Mm,
again, people, if they can't imagine it for themselves, like it's going to be hard for them to imagine it for you. So yeah, I
yeah.
think, yeah.
I think when you're sharing so much of your energy with other people, though, like that is like in a great way, but you're giving so much of yourself, your time, your energy, like that is everything. And like you can use your energy in different ways. So obviously there's like physically, like physical labor, but then, and then mentally, like mentally doing things like typing emails and like things like that. Like, I don't know, I was just thinking like yesterday, my housemate came home and I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm just saying, like I've just had like a day of, I had like 2 hour call with my coach and then did my own self-development work. And that, even though it's something I enjoy, just drained me. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I was at home a lot of the day, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like mentally and energetically, right? And like,
Mm,
yeah, definitely. And I think that's also another part where like when you're working with people, like boundaries are a really important thing to figure out very early on. And I'm glad I did that, figured that out early on of like energetic boundaries, of like closing the space properly, for example, when you're holding space for someone, or just knowing that like you don't have to, like an empath's job isn't to actually hold on to other people's shit. It's actually to like you move it. So you just allowing it to continue moving through you. So you're not taking it on as such. Um, Luckily, I'm a generator in human design. So I do feel like I'm someone who has like quite a lot of energy. But I do find if I get slack ever with like my energetic boundaries, with like, just putting the white light around me or whatever it might be that I want to do that day, if I do get slack with that, yeah, I can say I'm in bed the next day, the whole day. Even with doing like my like energetic protection, all the things I do every day, I feel like I can do no more than 6 one-on-one clients in a day. I feel like it's just that's my capacity at this point, and I feel like I'll never expand that capacity more than that, because I'm like that's a lot of clients to be doing, and that's why I'm sort of starting to shift my business model to do more courses and like group work, because it's a lot more sustainable for my business and myself.
yeah, like work smarter, not harder. Because I think we often have the mentality of like time equals money. And that's the same with like, you having a free life and you're not always at your computer doing work. Like you can be earning money, like, what's the word? Like passively while
Mm.
you're, got your courses on sale. And also working with people one-on-one, but that doesn't have to be how it looks all the time. Like having clients, because yeah, there's only so much you can do and you're like capping yourself, like got that glass ceiling where you're like, all right, that's as much as I can do. And I can't really grow my business from there then if you don't change it. So yeah, awesome. So I guess the other kind of things I was fascinated to know in terms of your business is like, what are the biggest challenges that you've experienced
Mm.
over these? Like we've probably caught on a couple of things, but like, what do you think are the biggest things that you've faced?
Yeah, so definitely, like I was saying, like your limiting beliefs and like your ego trying to keep you in the same space and not allow you to grow, that would definitely be a big challenge. I feel like I've had a pretty good run in the sense of like clients. Like I've only ever had one experience with a client that like made me really see that I needed to put some more things in place, which was like in a Voxer, container. I obviously hadn't set the container that well as the mentor in that. So the boundaries weren't clear, and that was definitely on me. And I think that was like tough to sort of navigate, because I was like, oh shit, like I've kind of done this to myself. Um, Other than that, I think the other, like, probably the hardest thing I've honestly faced in business was at the start of this year. when my nan passed away, and that was the first person I've ever lost in my life. And so pretty much all of February, and like we're only at the end of March now. Like, hold on, are we in April yet? No, we're at the end of March now as recording this. And this last month and a half has been really tough, but I think now I'm coming out the other side of it. It's just allowed me to see where I can refine my business more. Where can I actually create things, yeah, more automated or streamlined so that when I have to check out for however long, and I had to check out of business for nearly a whole, pretty much all of February, I was checked out because I was just not in a good place. And it's like, that's fine. But like now I've seen a lot of blind spots in my business that I can now improve. So I would say that would be the hardest time because it was almost like, I just was like, oh my God, I should be doing this. I should be doing my emails. I should be wanting to see clients, but I was just like rescheduling people. And I've never been someone to kind of do that. So it was really like different for me to navigate that part. But yeah, it's definitely just shown me again, like obviously one-on-ones only is just not sustainable. Like that's where having like more courses behind me and building my business model in that sense of like, if there's something like really big going on behind the scenes, I have like some courses I can just sell to still be selling and still be showing up, but I kind of just didn't have much of that to back me. Yeah, so I'd say that would have been the hardest thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about your nan. And that would have been, yeah, so tricky navigating a business where, yeah, if you're solely trying to show up with one-on-one clients, it's just like not possible. Like you want to be able to give your full, I'm sure that, like each session you're showing up in a certain way. So it's like it's just, it's just not going to work if you're already needing time to replenish your own energy. So that's
Yeah,
why
and
it is so good that you have those other courses.
yeah. And also like, a lot of the noise that I feel like I stayed in my own lane pretty well, but a lot of the noise that was maybe just letting me walk off my path a little bit was a lot of like when coaches are like, if you let things stop you, like that's why you're not like oh my God, as successful as you want to be. Or like the,
Mm.
coaches that say like, when you're at your lowest is when you'll find out who you really are, things like that, with your routine and things like that. And I kind of thank God I have a one-on-one mentor. She's like the best business mentor in the whole world. Love her with my whole heart. But she was like such a great support for me because she was just like, Tanika, you think you're doing a lot worse than you actually are. Like I was getting a bit hard on myself at some times. Um, so yeah, almost just like trying, like staying in my own lane, like at times where I would be like, oh my God, is there something wrong with me? Because like this morning I just had to sleep in, grief hits everyone differently. And it's like literally comes in waves. Like sometimes you're like, I feel fucking good. Then the next day it's like, I need to sleep all day. And it's like just holding space for yourself in that if you are navigating something big, because it's like,
Mm.
you're actually still human. And if you worked another job, you would not be feeling this guilty. So it was almost like just finding that in myself and building more trust in myself, building more love for myself that it's okay to be this way. And I think
Yeah.
that's like just a really cool thing to bring in, even of like, there is always that noise. Everyone has all those opinions, but like when they're saying things like you are who you really are at your lowest, they're not like referring to when someone close to you passes away. They're referring to like when you're having a mentee B because like something's not going your way. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It definitely depends on the situation because often, yeah, you can have that like background noise like on Instagram, whatever, and you're like, oh, I need more discipline. Like I'm not like staying at my usual, which obviously there is ebbs and flows, and especially when you have like grief and like really challenging times. Um, Trying to take that on is just that's where obviously I assume, yeah, like your intuition just comes back into play. Like just really just honing on like, is that actually something that I think is beneficial for me right now? No. So just like listen to your body. And like obviously we like to know, I think we always like to know like what's going on for us. So like, oh, I think I've worked through this now, or I think this, and then sometimes it can just come back and smack you in the face. You're like, oh, okay. No, I haven't. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like you don't need to be fixed. Just
Yeah.
experience what the body needs. Yeah.
And like, when we were in Laura's like mastermind together, and she would always say,
Mm.
new level, new devil. And I remember she said that, and I so fucking understand it now. It's like every level that you meet, that rise to, the same devil's gonna, like, it's gonna be there. So you're gonna face it from some different angle. Like it might not be as full on as the first time you faced it, but there's always going to be something there in that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, definitely.
I remember that. Yeah, and I don't think I fully understood that until I can relate to it more in a sense of stepping into your fear. Like
Yeah.
I've done things before that have just been so, like, I guess not societal expectations wise. Like
Mm.
you kind of step out of the norm or you like really step into your fear and it feels so good on the other side. You're like, oh, okay. And you can properly see that your body can handle it. Like you're realizing sometimes you need to see the physical change in your reality before you believe it for yourself. But
Yes,
then, it doesn't mean that stepping into fear again is gonna then it may be a bit easier because you're trusting more and you're like, okay, there is something on the other side of this. Like on the other side of fear, there's gonna be something amazing. But it's like a bigger and bigger risk because you're obviously up leveling and growing like with your business and yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Where do
Definitely.
you want to take your business? Like, I'd love to know the goals that you have.
Um, so because I'm studying my bachelor in health science to become a naturopath, which is something I always wanted to do since I was little. I was always like, I want to be a naturopath, even when I didn't really know what it was. I kind of have this vision for myself that I can see myself opening up like a healing studio somewhere, like here on the Sunshine Coast, and it being more of the energy of like having multiple practitioners working there. So it's not just me. Like I, for example, would own the studio, but it's going to be a place where it's like a holistic healing hub where like there's, a chiropractor, there's a masseuse, there's all these different, like a nutritionist, a naturopath, things like that. But I also want to have it like where it's like a place where people can come and hang out and it's like cozy and it's a vibe. So almost like bringing in like an organic cafe on the side of that. So it's kind of like this two parts of me of like, I love health and I love like nourishing food and like bringing in both like elements of who I am into one business. So I would say that's like my bigger vision is just like opening up some sort of place like that I just know that like it's just going to be different because it's going to be mine. Does that make sense? I just like know I'm like
Yeah.
someone could listen to this idea and be like, "Oh my God, such a great idea. I'm going to go copy that." But it's like I just know that when I do it it's actually just going to be like so fucking good
Mm,
because it's like my idea and I can see the vision that I have for myself, if that makes sense. Like I can
yeah.
just see it, I can feel it. I know that like all the pieces haven't even dropped in yet. It's just going to be so, so cool. So that's definitely like a bigger vision. And I almost like see myself like I have this vision that I've had, like I had a dream about it, but I have a vision of like holding hands with like one of like a little girl and she's obviously my daughter and she has like curly hair and she's like 5 years old and like I'm like walking up to this like place and like we're just about to open it and like I see that vision and I'm like, I just know that's going to be like it one day. Like, I just absolutely know that
Mm,
it's going to be something that I achieve. And like, Jai and I have very similar, like, he has different visions for himself in business, but like, we have this very similar, like, what we both want. Just, it all just fits in so perfectly. Everything we've spoken about, like a dream house, like dream cars, like, all the things. And I'm just like, I just see this as just like a part of that. Which is really, really cool. So that's definitely like my bigger vision for my business. But I mean,
amazing.
yeah, it's like a bit different, but I think it'll be really, really cool.
No, and I think we need more of that. Like you said, if someone was to copy that, it's not even like, and I think they need to be passionate about it. And you're so
Yeah,
passionate. Like it really shows when someone's so all in and you obviously like stick to what you're most value the most, which is what you do, and then having other people doing what they value most all together would just be such an amazing experience. And I just don't believe in coincidences. Like I just think like obviously, you and Jai getting your lives just like meshing together so well, and you imagining what you're going to do is definitely, I just feel like it's not on your heart unless it's for you. So
exactly.
definitely, yeah.
I also want to add, I have also always wanted to write a book. So I also feel like I'll definitely do that at some stage of like maybe even multiple books, maybe about my journey, maybe about the menstrual cycle. Who knows? I guess that's something I see myself doing like when I'm a mum. Like, do you know what I mean? I kind of like see
Mm,
that at that stage of life once I'm like a little bit older, I've kind of done this hustle, built my community, built the things, and it's like, okay, how can I pivot this? Like, I kind of feel like, and I mean, I've heard nothing but like chaos about writing a book, but I feel like I want to do that as well.
yeah, I don't know, like why not? Because like having all these different challenges and imagine how like you're like 24, right? You're the same age
Yeah.
as me. yeah, imagine what you're going to be like knowledge-wise by then. Like it's just so exciting to see how quickly things can change. And like, yeah, I think that's like it doesn't nothing to stop you from writing one now because you already have so much like a wealth of wisdom. But like just when you've had more of your story, like imagine like that would just be so cool.
Yeah, and I think that's like something that ties in really cool to like begin to wrap this up is just like your story is your story and like the hard things that you face and like the limiting beliefs that you face and like the things that you feel like you can't get, past them. That's what makes your story so fucking powerful for someone else who is actually in the shoes you were in like a year or two ago. Like I was in your position, Hayley. Like I was there, like of like, oh, do I do it? Like, am I right? Am I good enough? Like all those stupid thoughts coming up, but they're not stupid because that built resilience in me, that built courage in me, that built trust in me when I actually heard them, but moved anyway.
Mm. Yeah, like respect what they have to say. And like, okay, I understand you're scared, but like this is the next step. And like it's like you just haven't seen yourself do it yet. So it's like you don't know until you do it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I've loved chatting with you today. This has been so nice.
It's been so good. Like I loved this idea so much. Like I'm just so glad we did this and I'm sure it's going to support so many people who are just like, yeah, wanting to start their business and just feeling like, what the fuck do I do?
Mm. Yeah, and just knowing you're not the only one. Like everyone, there's been people that've been there, done that. You work
Yeah.
it out as you go. Yeah, it's really reassuring.
Thank you for
Mm.
coming. Do you have any more questions?
No, that was it,
Oh,
actually.
hi.
I think
Well,
so. Yeah.
thank you for coming on. Like, I know you interviewed me, but like, I actually loved answering all, like, I just loved that. That was so fun, like being interviewed. I loved it so much. So thank you for like also wanting to like know more about my journey and like allowing this opportunity for other women because a lot of women probably wouldn't have a similar relationship to us even then they're just like, oh my God, sneaker inspires me, but they would never ask me. So it's kind of like,
Mm.
here we go. And like we both contributed so much to this. Like you had so much wisdom that you put into this conversation too, which is just so cool. So I just loved it. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, and like yeah, we obviously were gonna have this chat anyway, but it was such a good idea for you to actually go, hey, let's record it. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's just like win-win really, because I
Yeah.
think, yeah, more people should definitely hear this stuff.
Yeah. And you can come back and listen to it when you forget everything I've said.
Yeah, I know. I was just like mentally, I didn't have a pen on me, and I was like, oh, I want to write what you're saying down. So
Oh,
yeah, I
well,
will definitely do that.
yes, well, I'll stop the recording, but thank you everyone for listening and being here and being a part of the podcast community. I love you so, so much. And thank you for listening to me and Hayley just chat on. It was so, so good. I'll be back in your ears next week. Goodbye. Thank you so much for being a listener of the podcast. I love and appreciate you so, so much. And to show my appreciation and love for you, head on over to my Instagram at Sacred Space W to Nicolais. Jump in my DMs, let me know why you love the podcast, and I'll send you a little something special. See you next week.